Hello, I'm Alan Folmsby, and today where I'm going to be talking about the new periodic table here of the nuclear structure. And you see in the middle we have iron, which is the exemplary element, and this just shows protons and neutrons equally, so that the red parts are a cube shape of protons and neutrons, and the black parts are little pyramids of protons and neutrons. And then the lighter elements are what we're going to talk about today, like carbon-12 here. It has a little cube. So that's 8 little neutrons and protons in this model, and it has white protons and dark neutrons. So now in this picture of the periodic table, we don't actually see which ones are protons and neutrons in most instances here. So for example, here's the entire periodic table, and we see that iron's in this row here, just like the ordinary table, and on the far right are these inert gases, and they are all don't have any blue dots on them, but other elements do have blue dots, and those stand for protons that are added on top of foundation elements. For example, neon is a foundation element, and it then gets 1 proton to form sodium, and we can now look at that a bit closer. So the size of this is going to come in pretty tight on the sodium here. So anyway, we find out that there's a trend in this table here showing that these very light elements, for example lithium, is protons tend to form lines of protons. And in this periodic table, they're all just black dots because they're protons and neutrons. And then as you get up to the heavier elements, you get carbon-12, and that has this cube at the center. And then it has these 4 red circles in the periodic table. That means there's 2 layers by 2 layers in a cube that's 2 layers high. So there's 8 protons and neutrons. 2 protons, 6 neutrons. And then these 2 black dots on the sides signify that all 4 sides have a single proton or neutron. Now nitrogen in the table, you see, has 2 more protons and neutrons added on the top and bottom faces of the cube. So that continues on for oxygen, and finally you get up to the heavier elements, and you get the cube that's 3 by 3 by 3, and that will form the iron. So that's basically how to read this picture here in the periodic table. The red dots are in the cube, like 2 by 2 by 2 baryons, and then the black ones are protons and neutrons in little pyramids that nestle into the faces of the cube, as in iron. And so as the protons tend to line up with protons, we get these loops in iron, and that can be seen in these models, but not really in the periodic table. Like for example, if we move over to look at iron here, you cannot even see loops in this kind of picture, but by putting together a 3-dimensional model, you can see it. So that's the introduction to the new periodic table. You can get your copy at my blog spot at the ferronuclear.blogspot.com. Thank you very much.